brought Pauper text at the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper text at the party.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special award show episode of the PDH Pod. We are the one and only Magic the Gathering podcast dedicated to the total exploration of the Pauper Commander format. I am your host, Brad Drac V, and let's see what my co-hosts from the East Coast are up to. Dave, the Alcadron Vader, did you know that as a presenter at the Yargles, you get a free swag bag?
I did not know that. I will look forward to getting mine very soon.
Comes with all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm a little tired because I stayed up for like 4.5 straight hours yesterday talking with Clay and Ryan, and
yes,
it was
you did. That was
amazing.
Well,
and it's all on YouTube. You should watch it. Well, not
Yep.
4.5 hours. 3 hours of it are on YouTube because that's what we recorded, and then we stopped the recording and we just kept talking for another
just kept talking.
hour and a half. And then
That's how it happens.
And it was like midnight 30, and I was like, I gotta go to bed and also pee. Like,
You gotta do stuff, man.
I got stuff to do with my bladder and my unconsciousness. But it was really good. You should check it out. It's over on their Common Connoisseurs channel. It was an excellent time. Lots of wise and interesting things were said, and you are the target audience for all of the wise and interesting things that I say. So you should.
For all the words.
All of the words. They're for you.
All right. Next up, dressed for the award show in his finest tuxedo t-shirt, is our resident PDH PhD, Liam. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm excited to be back recording this week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guys, big plans for the holidays coming up? Because this will pretty much be the last show before the actual big holiday.
If sleeping counts.
Yeah, right.
I mean, between school and work, eating up, 60, 70 hours a week, I'm ready to sleep.
Yeah, I don't think I'm working Thursday because of the weather. The huge snowmageddon, or whatever they call it every year, is about to hit us. Bunch of snow and ice, and then I am off for the rest of the year. So I shall be catching up on sleep as well. Hopefully getting in some PDH games too.
That'd be dope.
Yes.
So yeah, that would definitely be dope. But before we talk about more dopeness, let's do some housekeeping. And first up, we'll shout out the patron. If you like the show, you want to support what we're doing, you want to become fans, become part of our family, if you will, head on over to patreon.com/thepdhpod. Over there, patrons get access to the pre-show. We've missed the past couple pre-shows, but this one will definitely be up there. It was almost an hour worth of just casual conversation. People getting heated up.
Minutes.
Yeah, about 45 minutes. You hear Liam sort of threaten Morrow. I think put out the warning on Morrow not to do drastic things to the Magic multiverse. But yeah, you get the pre-show, which is usually just a short recording of us catching up for the week. You also get access to the episodes before they go live, usually the night before, 12 to 18 hours before it goes live on the major platforms.
Yeah.
And then you also get access to the PDH Pod Discord, where you can chat with us, the crew, talk about your decks, all that good stuff. And today was a pretty good conversation. You missed some well-researched psychometrics and how the 7-point reliability doesn't coordinate with rating scales. I learned a lot. I was not expecting that.
I missed that whole
Today
conversation.
was interesting.
But like when I was busy, I wasn't checking the Discord much this afternoon. When I saw it and I went back and read the whole thing, I was like, yes, every part of this checks out. Because I spent a hot minute as a social scientist. I didn't finish that PhD. I dropped out, but I gave it. I was in that program for 8 years, and I learned a lot of stuff. And like everything they say about psychometrics and data collection and data, like how when you decide to use an instrument and you're gonna ask people to rate things on a scale from 1 to 7, like 1 to 7 is better than like 1 to 100, and also it's still not very reliable because one person might be another person's 7. Like one person's like, I feel strongly about this, agree, and the other person's like, I feel strongly about this, 7, and you're like, oh 7. God, there's no consistency here at all. So yeah, it
was good conversation.
Great conversation.
And all that spawned from the typical like. Oh, my deck is a 7.
All of it spawned from the question of how do you like the EDH power scale rating?
Yep, that's it. Yeah, I posted the picture. I thought, should we have one of these for PDH? And then 2 hours later, we were deep down the science rabbit hole.
It's a good rabbit hole to
It was
fall
awesome.
down.
It was definitely a good rabbit hole. So yeah, besides scientific lectures and deck techs and all that kind of good stuff, also check out the YouTube where Lobert is over there kicking butt on some gameplay videos. Those are always awesome. We usually get about one every 2 weeks or so. So go ahead and check those out. And that's it for my housekeeping. Liam, do you got anything for him?
Yeah, when it comes to This Week in Magic, let me tell you guys.
Yeah.
I am so happy that there was nothing in Secret Lair news this week.
Yay.
There's absolutely nothing.
My Secret Lair news is that I got an email that a Secret Lair I ordered shipped.
Shut up,
Yeah, I
Dave.
did see a bunch of that on Twitter. A lot of people celebrating that they got the tracking update email.
That's the news. That's the Secret Lair news.
That is it. That's the news.
There's
I
no
like that
secret.
kind of news.
In other news, there is no Secret Lair news this week.
Yep. And there was much rejoicing.
There was some discussion about whether or not we're going to mention the storm scale update. These happen quite irregularly and simultaneously all the time. I don't think there's anything in particular that we wanted to point out about the storm scale. Brad, was there?
Nothing specific.
Okay.
No. I just didn't know because I don't follow it that closely, but I heard some buzz that there was a decent update to the storm scale, so I didn't know if it was something that the majority of people care about.
I took a look at it during the pre-show, and it does look like there was a decent amount of stuff added to it, but it doesn't look like there was many changes to stuff already existing on the list. But yeah, and then what was the I'm not going to mention that. It's just the pre-release update and whatnot. That's all competitive Magic, and we don't do that here.
Yeah. That's other people talk competitive stuff.
Insert your Black Panther meme here. We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. And then last but not least, like Dave said earlier, if you want to check out his interview with the Common Connoisseurs, Ryan, Pauper Ryan and Clay from the Tryhards, they have a really cool project going on, constantly uploading content to YouTube. Go check it out. It was a great interview. Good job, Dave.
Thank you. I had an enormous amount of fun with it.
Yeah, it seemed like it. It was good conversation.
Yeah, Clay is on a quest. I think Clay, who's an avid listener of our show, I'm sure. He can correct me.
And new patron. I forgot to shout him out. Clay, welcome to the patron family.
Brand new patron. Yeah, part of our interview was me revealing that there was a PDH Discord, a PDH Pod Discord, and he's like, "Why am I not on it?" And I was like, "It's for patrons." And he literally subscribed to the Patreon in the middle of the interview.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
well done.
It was beautiful.
Well done.
But yeah, Clay's on this quest to I think that one of our very early PDH Pod episodes, I was talking about the rules committee and like where it came from and what it's about, and I mentioned that some members of the rules committee are very like high visibility, very active on the social medias, very forward facing, and then there are other members of the RC that are very sort of like shadowy Kabbalist, like secret kind of people, like hidden people, and one of the names I dropped at this point I think was Derek's, who who has since become very forward facing, which is incredible. The man is a brilliant speaker. He
has a very good voice.
Of all the professional humans I know, he is my favorite. And like he crafts arguments so well. I love talking to him. I love that he's become more forward facing in the RC. But so like I kind of all the various RC members that don't interact a lot, like his was the name I just sort of picked at random, and that kind of started this like chain reaction where like he came forward, and then Clay was like, we need to start an interview series where we're gonna do face interviews, video interviews with you and put them on YouTube so that we can like get the RC more introduced to the community. And he's done Derek, cool. He's done Scarecrow, he's done Ruffigan, and then
okay, was that when Derek was last week or 2 weeks ago? He did the interview with Ryan about elves, PDH elves. Was that part of that kind of that series? I guess.
No, I think so.
Or was that just completely different?
Now, having sort of like broken the ice on like Derek is now a very active like person who does a lot of things. Like having done that, Derek has since appeared on a handful of videos with Ryan to make decks and craft decks and do deck design, deck text, that sort of thing. But no, this was originally an interview series that Clay was doing, where Clay's like interviewing RC members to try and increase their visibility and like get them get them and their opinions and their contributions to this more out in the world, so that it feels less like PDH is sort of governed by this shadowy cabal of mysterious figures that are inscrutable and never answer for their decisions. So which is a great interview series. Like, I think it's going really well. And then like he's kind of going down the list of the RC members, and he got to me, and he was like, "This is among the most like of all the RC members that need additional publicity. Like, you are not on this list. Like, so there's nothing I'm going to introduce you to. Let's just get drunk and hang out." And then we did that for 3 hours, and you can watch us.
Yep. And it was awesome.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It was very good.
Awesome. That was a very good show, and I think that's a hell of a project that Clay's doing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to who he gets on there next. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. Keeps it pretty close to the chest, because I had no idea until I think I found out last night.
Yeah, and we gotta get Clay on the show. Like, we've had a lot of other like really high profile people on our show, and like Clay's like conspicuously absent. We gotta coordinate with him, figure out what we're bringing him on for, and then just talk about him.
Yep,
talk
absolutely
about it with him.
Sounds good to me. All right, I think with that out of the way, we can move on to the main topic. And this is something that we sort of collectively as a podcast came up with the idea for this show a while ago, and thought that, it'd be a good idea to put it out towards the end of the year, at least before Christmas. That way over break, you have something to listen to, that sort of thing. And it's not like super deck tech heavy, super like technical, that sort of thing. So you're not, the last thing we want to do is to like distract you from the holidays, with PDH technical decks and gameplay and breakdown and all this kind of stuff. So we just wanted to do a fun episode. And basically we're doing an award show for 2022. This year was an enormous year for the format. So we decided to kind of compile the best of the best here for you this evening. We picked a variety of categories, and some of them and some very worthy nominees to go in those categories. And we're just going to sort of run down the list. We're going to give arguments for each nominee, and then honestly, we don't know who's going to win. I guess we'll find that out on the show.
We have all our nominations written down in the show notes, but we have made no decisions. We are going to be we are going to be making these decisions
as live can get,
live on air, using the only metric that we know, screaming matches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like adult people.
Like adult decision makers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And to the winner goes the ultimate prize of the Yargle. What do you think about the Yargle?
Have we talked about the Yargle pieces that got made?
Oh, I guess we have not.
We need to mention those.
Absolutely.
I feel like Dave should mention them.
Okay. Let me... Yep. I'm trying to remember the exact name of it. Now I'm scrolling through 2 hours of Likert scale. Who did this?
Drew.
Scooby.
Okay, Scooby Drew.
Scooby Drew has a friend that owes him favors and owns a 3D printer, and he has created a number of Yargle miniatures that are going to serve as our Yargle awards. So we have real physical Yargle statuettes for awards. I don't know. Yep. I don't know how we're going to give them to cards. Maybe we just put it on top of a card, and that's
sure that works.
And Liam has also photoshopped some Golden Yargles.
They're beautiful.
They're amazing.
You can check them out on Twitter and Reddit. Go on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, they were kind of like our infographic, if you will, for this episode.
Yeah, I say
that's what these various cards and decks and people will be winning.
Yeah, I will be on Saturday. So the episode comes out on Friday, 24 hours after the episode goes live. I'm going to be tweeting out more photoshopped images of the Golden Yargles and the winners.
Oh, amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
I think that is a perfect thing
you
to
can
happen.
look forward to that.
So make sure you don't want to spoil yourself. Make sure that you are actively listening to this episode right now. Less than 24 hours after it goes live.
I might be nice.
Yep.
It might be like 72 hours. I might wait till after Christmas. I might.
I don't know. It's a pretty good Christmas gift.
Depends how excited I get. I might schedule the tweets to go live on Christmas Day. I don't know.
Oh, that is very professional of you.
Maybe. I don't know. Because the other part is like, if we put this episode out on like the 23rd, how many people are going to see it 2 days before Christmas?
That's a good point. Well, a lot of people are on the road traveling. They need stuff to listen to.
The flip side is even if they don't get the chance to listen to it, they're going to want to know the answers.
That's true. That is a good point.
And tweets are a lot easier to read.
The
than
best
listening
part
to an
about
hour-long
this
podcast.
is that the audience has now been listening to this podcast for 16 minutes and has gotten to the part where we're discussing when are they going to listen to it. So, listeners,
It's a very meta conversation.
pause the podcast, tweet at the Pauper PDH Pod, and let us know what time it is that you're hearing this right now. It's for science.
It is for science. We need that data.
Okay, and you need to tag Brad in it, but do not tag me in it.
I look forward to it.
Actually, feel free to tag me. I don't care.
All right. What do you think we get into the actual main topic?
Let's do it.
All right. First up, in the 2022 Yargles, the category is Best New Commander. Who wants to go first?
I think I should go first because I'm the least enthusiastic about this option, and I want to just get it out of the way.
Go for it.
I think the best new commander in terms of raw power, has to be Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward. This is the white, choose a background, 5-drop 4/4, lets you exile any number of your permanents on ETB, so you can do crazy flicker stuff. Gives you that many 1/1 tokens, so you can do crazy go wide stuff. And then it puts all the exile things back into play when it leaves, so you can keep doing crazy flicker stuff. This has completely rocked the competitive scene. People have built competitive versions of this deck with every possible background.
Yeah.
I think the natural choice is blue, but like you can go red into you can go black into aristocrats, you can go blue hard into flicker combo, you can go red into aggro and burn with the street urchin, so you can chuck these little soldiers that you're creating at people. You can go black with Master Chef or green with Master Chef and just have your tokens come in with counters on them and just be.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, like everything about this is nonsense. So yeah, I think it's really powerful. I'm also like kind of hoping that it loses because like I was saying this exact same thing last night with the tryhards. This card was released on June 10th, and by June 12th, I was sick of it. Like I'm already. I've been over this card for months, and it keeps happening at me, and I'm ready for it to stop. So, Brad, tell me who you think should win the best new commander, Yargle.
All right, best new commander Yargle prize. My choice goes to Commander Liara Portier. When this was spoiled, I thought, cool, we have a Boros commander. Oh, but it doesn't have choose a background like all the other cool commanders do. And then I thought, oh, okay, cool. Well, it's Boros. That's fine. It's aggro. And then I got to reading it. Whenever you attack, spells you cast from exile cost X less, where X is the number of players being attacked. Exile top X of your library. You can play those cards. That's a lot of words for an aggro player to read. So I didn't really give it much thought. I didn't even brew a deck around Liara for a while, actually. Abigail, Common Commander, had a deck for her the day she was spoiled. It was beautiful. And I thought, okay, cool. This will be one of those commanders that I'll just wait until I play against it to see how other brewers, other players are going to play this sort of deck. But to me, it was just straight aggro, Boros aggro, pretty simple. The problem is it's not that simple at all. Liara is a crazy explosive commander that is just nonstop. It has a nice mix of value and aggression at the same time. You don't often get those two things combined, but Liara does that in spades. Like, you're constantly quote unquote drawing cards as you're rewarded for attacking other players. So you're attacking, you're drawing cards, you're attacking, you're drawing cards, you're attacking, you're drawing cards. And not only that, you're getting paid off with a mana reduction in the spells that you cast. So naturally, what ended up happening with Liara and Puzzlebox actually got a Liara deck on the DDB, the competitive database. She was basically designed, it seems, for affinity. You know, when you're already getting the mana discount for your creatures with affinity, and then on top of that, they cost X less to cast. I mean, you're just dropping, flyers, sky scanners, mirror enforcers, all this crazy stuff every turn for free. Every turn, and you're not empty-handed. If you're attacking, you're never going to be empty-handed, basically. So it's the perfect combination of aggression and value and power. Now, the only thing I will say is that because Liara is so powerful, she does get targeted early and often. I've seen people pay 13 mana to get her on the battlefield. It happens. And then 2, later in the game when you're down to 1v1, one opponent, the value's not so much there as it was in the early to mid game, but it's still there a little bit. So I can see sort of the downside to her, but because she is so explosive, I've seen decks built for her that take out 2 players at once. And then her battlefield is so stocked that it doesn't matter that she's not getting that value in the final turns of the game. So that's my choice for the best new commander of 2022, the most powerful, the fastest, the most value-driven commander. What do you think?
The thing I really like about Liara is that she's rewarding you with this card advantage and this discount, but it comes in the form of you have to attack everyone for that. And like
everyone all the time.
Yeah. Like historically
you'll attack into a stocked board just to get the trigger.
Right. And so like because you're doing that, you're attacking into a stocked board, like you're going to lose some attackers sometimes. People are going to keep up blockers and they're going to shut you down, and it's like you have to pay for it, which I think is really cool design space to be playing around in. Also, like we used to call this the Kozak split, named after some of the PDH pals, because 4 or 5 years ago, attacking multiple different players at once was widely considered to be the idiot maneuver. Like you should be focused. Like when you attack 3 players at once, you're exposing yourself to 3 times as many blockers, and you're diluting your damage out enormously. And it's like it's a pals maneuver. It's like we're goofing around, we're having fun. Like this, we know this isn't the correct play, but we're just like we're messing around. Like that Liara forces you into this to get the benefit, I think is hilarious and awesome. It's such cool design space. And then, like you said, when you kill a player, like she loses a lot of effectiveness. So
sure,
very cool card in really fascinating design space.
Absolutely. I think she was overshadowed by all the backgrounds and the dragons and all the splashy stuff. That is my pick. What do you got for us, Liam?
Yeah, Liam has probably the best commander out of all 3. Wilson. Refined Grizzly. Wilson.
Okay.
The Refined Grizzly. Wilson is just perfection incarnate when it comes to commanders. Can't be countered. He's got 3 amazing keywords. He's got protection. He's got choose a background. For those who build modular decks, where you have a 50-card deck built around a commander and then a 50-card deck built around a bunch of backgrounds, Wilson is by far the best one you could build this with. I just chose Wilson because he's a humble little bear warrior.
A humble little bear warrior that will kick your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wilson will put in work, that's for sure.
Yes, it will. It will put in a lot of work.
Yeah. All right, now that we got the nominees, who are we picking for the best new commander of 2022?
I vote for not Abdel.
Just because you're sick of him?
I'm so sick of Abdel. Get out of here.
So for a lot of these categories, I tried to be non-subjective. Like Wilson is by far like my favorite commander from this year. I don't know that he is objectively the best. But for a lot of the other categories, I tried to be very, very objective and less subjective. And I hate to break your heart, Dave, but I think it might just be Abdel. Like, I think Abdel is just the best new commander.
I think it is too. I have not heard any stories about Commander Liara Portier taking down EDH tables.
Yeah.
Abdel will do that.
I think it's just Abdel Adrian.
I think that's it. Wood. Congratulations, Abdel. Your Yargle is in the mail.
I regret everything.
Hey, you picked a winner.
All right. I'll take it.
All right. Who wants to present the next category?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take this one. So the next category is the best new common. So as with all of our categories, this is going to be a card originally printed in 2022, unless stated otherwise. And so of the best new commons in 2022, I think that's Tamiyo's Safekeeping. There were a couple cards I wanted to pick from Brothers War or from Jumpstart, but I don't think those cards have had enough time to marinate yet. So I think it's just going to be unfortunate that they were passed over by me personally. But seeing what Tamiyo's Safekeeping has done to the format And it's kind of almost like the same overarching effect that happened when people realized Heroic Intervention was not supposed to be a bulk rare.
Mm-hmm.
And, Timeo Safekeeping is no Heroic Intervention. It doesn't protect your whole board, but it does protect one thing. And if that one thing is your combo piece or your commander or something very important you need to keep in play, Timeo Safekeeping does that. And while Safekeeping is not a card that I have had the chance to play a lot of, because green is not something I play a lot of, that when I have played it, I've seen it put in work. I've seen other people put some work with it, do some work with it. I think it's Tameo Safekeeping. Like, it's just so the ubiquity of the card is there.
That is totally fair.
What about you, Dave? What do you think?
I love safekeeping. I think that the fact that it targets any permanent is colossal. Like, this can protect your lands if they're getting like cleansing wildfire. It can protect like your artifacts. You shouldn't ever make this play, but it can protect your oubliette. If someone's trying to, yeah.
I feel
so
like
I think safekeeping is a house, but I think there's a card that is less pound for pound impactful, but more universal. And that card is, I think, Tocasia's Dig Site from Brothers War. This is a land that comes in untapped, taps for a colorless mana, and for 3 and tap it, you can surveil 1. So, an enormous number of the utility lands that we get in PDH, you have to pay for. Like, they come in tapped and then they don't do much, or like, they do a thing, but you have to pay for it severely. Like, this thing, it comes in untapped. It doesn't slow you down. You don't have to spend a turn playing it. The only drawback here is that you're running 1 less colored source of mana.
Sure.
So like, if you have a deck that's really colored mana intensive, like Okame Ranger has no generic mana in her cost, like, you probably don't run Tocasia's Dig Site. If you have any amount of play at all in your mana base in terms of what needing to produce colored mana, I think Tocasia's Dig Site is a slam dunk because it costs you so little, and the potential payoffs are enormous. Late game, your hand is getting low, you need to dig for an answer. This will just surveil 1 every turn. It's like a Baby Bonder's Ornament that doesn't take up a card slot in your deck. It just takes up a land slot, which is enormous.
Yeah, it really is. Like you said, that late game value cannot be understated. Like, it's almost part of your routine. It's untap, upkeep, surveil, draw. Like, and that comes in enormously handy late game. No, I have it in a few decks, and each, I think one game I had it out early and I didn't use it till turn 10 or 11, and one game with a different deck I didn't draw it until like turn 10, 12, something like that, and it was unbelievable how much value, how far, like the card says, how far I was able to dig into my deck to find. I don't know if I found any quote unquote answers. I didn't win the game off of it, but it kept me alive. It kept me. It found me gas. It found me interaction. It found me more creatures. That sort of thing. Like, I was throwing away lands that I didn't need, like, every turn almost.
Yes, that's the value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, late game, when you need to draw impact cards, it will make sure that you're not drawing the dead cards, which is fantastic.
And granted, you're quote unquote losing 4 mana because you got to tap this as well as 3 other lands to activate it. But if you're in the later turns, 4 mana is nothing.
Nothing.
If you have other things to do with your mana, do those things.
Sure.
Like, it's just, you're not going to waste this card by not using its surveil ability. It's still a land. Like, it's doing its job.
Still a land, right?
It's when you run out of other things to do with your mana, this is a free mana sink that will fix your top deck forever.
Yep.
What do you got for us, Brad? What do you tell us about your best new common?
All right. Well, I am similar to the alley that Liam was walking down, except I don't let things marinate. Mine comes straight from Brothers War. It's Gay as Gift. It's similar to Tameo Safekeeping in that it is a green instant that will protect a creature you control, not a permanent. I'll concede that. It does not target any permanent you control, but it's basically a 2-mana instant with every word on it. You get a +1/+1 counter, you get reach, trample, hexproof, indestructible. Like, this card has saved not only my butt, it has saved my commanders from losing in combat, from direct damage spells, removal spells, that sort of thing. I don't know that it's a Tamiyo safekeeping, but it is damn close. Like, it is, if I don't have a safekeeping on hand, this is going in the slot, and I don't feel bad about it one bit.
Yeah.
It's just instant speed, green value that, like, was a semi-auto include the day it was spoiled. So I don't have a lot to say on Gift, because Liam took most of the good words with safekeeping, and he was right, because they sort of do the same thing. But I'm not sure Gay's Gift is nearly what safekeeping is, but it is darn good.
I think that if I still had my my Mobu +1 counter deck together, I would probably replace safekeeping with Gift, because even though
like Herd Bailoff cares about the
even
counters,
though it
that
is
sort of thing.
Yeah, even though it is the 1/1 mana, my commander would have cared about the counters, and honestly, the reach cannot be understated how important that is.
Yeah, the reach is huge. I think I've used Gaia's Gift more defensively than I have ever offensive. Like, the trample has never come into play. It's always the indestructible or the hexproof or what have you.
I will be completely honest. I think that objectively safekeeping is a better card. I like Gift a lot more because I am a berserk tier aggro enthusiast, and like
that could be
I
it.
want that trample.
Yeah.
I need, like, I don't care about the rest. I just want indestructible hexproof trample. Like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, those ones always catch my eye too. Like, there was one in Strixhaven. There was like big play or something. Green mana instant, target creature gets trample or whatever. I'm like, ooh,
and then you draw.
Play that. Yeah. It's a good word.
I just love that it's like all of the other versions of safekeeping, like, Shelter, Blacksmith Skill, all of these cards,
Snakeskin Veil, all that stuff.
Yeah, they feel to me exclusively defensive.
That's fair.
I am overjoyed to have a card that I can put into that slot that also gets really aggressive.
Sure. Yeah, for 1 extra mana you can do defense or offense.
Yeah. And again, I'm like, in a competitive deck, if I have to choose between the two, it's got to be safekeeping.
Sure.
The mana difference, the mana difference, and the target any permanent is huge in the competitive setting. But like for most of my decks, I value the aggression of Gaia's Gift much more than the utility of the safekeeping, and I don't care about 2-life. 2-life is nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, my vote here is for Gaia's Gift, I think.
Ooh. What do you think, Liam? Who do you want to get the Yargle?
I don't know. I think all three of these are good picks, but
they're so good. If it were up to me and you just gave me this list and I didn't know who created the list and I didn't listen to any arguments and you just told me to pick one of these 3 cards, it would probably be Tamiyo Safekeeping for me. It's that target any permanent it really just puts it up a notch.
For me, it's not even the target any permanent. It really is I know what safekeeping does, and Dig Site and Gift are just too new in my head to give them the same weight that I can mentally give to safekeeping. However, I think that if I go by that reasoning now, I have to go by that reasoning for the rest of the episode. And that's not something I really want to do. So I think I am going to swap over to Gaia's Gift.
Ooh.
Just because I hadn't considered the fact that it could be used defensively or offensively. And that's a really good point that Dave made that I like. Yep.
Both sides of the coin there. All right. I think we got a winner, huh?
Yeah, what's our winner?
All right. Sounds like Gaia's Gift is the winner. Hooray. Your Yargle is in the mail.
I'd like to know where Brad's mailing all these Yargles to.
Mail him to cards. All right, I think we get to move on to the next category. What do you think?
Is it my turn to introduce the category?
I think it is.
Awesome. I'm extremely pleased now, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the category Worst New Commander. The commander that you are the most angry at, the most disappointed with, the most enraged about the existence of. I would love to hear from Brad about this one. Tell us the commander that you like the least.
The least? I think when we promoted this show the very first day, everyone knew what my answer was going to be. But I think for the sake of the show, I'll have to repeat it. My absolute worst new commander of 2022 is freaking stupid Saravak Deathbringer and his stupid freaking face. I hate him. I hate him on so many different levels. Like, he has to be your commander. We're not in a format where he can just be in the 99. So you have to build a deck around him. But the problem is there's like, at common even, there's like literally 1.5 million ways that players can have permanents leave the battlefield on their turn. He is extremely easy to play around, and he makes you, the Saravak player, the Saravak pilot, two things. He makes you a political piece between other players, while also making you an instant arch enemy of the table at the same time. It is unreal how players will pit Saravak against each other while also turning him around on you. He's unplayable, and I can't stress that enough, that I absolutely hate his stupid freaking face. And it's such good art that I'm sad that it's on that card. That's all.
Thank you for that. I have nothing to add. That was as eloquent as it was passionate. Tell us what you think, Liam.
Yeah.
Who have you brought for us?
So, see, I find it funny that Saravak is Brad's choice because I'm still trying to wrap my head around what this thing does 6 months later. And the answer is apparently nothing. But when it comes to my commander, I think mine is the worst, not because of any amount of unplayability, because don't get me wrong, there were some unplayable commanders out there I could have chosen. I chose it more because it was disappointing. Mine is Tatyova, Steward of Tides, the 2021, the Dominaria United Tatyova, because I'm not going to go into the whole thing that we covered in the Dominaria United set review, but this commander, it's very easy to fold the deck in half. It is very easy for your opponents to just knock out half of your lands, even in a Simic ramp deck that hurts. You know, you're a Simic ramp deck, you go from 20 lands to 10 to 5, and it's oh geez.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. It's not a great commander. And while we definitely didn't need, and I definitely didn't want another 2018 Tatyova, this one is a really, really disappointing addition to the Tatyova line. And I have to say it's the worst new commander because it's just disappointing to look at and read every time.
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. I feel like if it had any other name other than Tatyova, I wouldn't have been as disappointed with it.
Exactly. I think had they like literally created any name, any new legend like they do with half the legends these days, I wouldn't have given this card a second look. This would not be my worst pick. In fact, my worst pick would probably be what Dave's about to share. But it really is. I thought about it. I'm like, this Tatyova just disappoints me every time I think about it.
Yeah.
So I have to roll with it. It's just disappointing.
That is fair. So far, there's been a lot of disappointment in this category. Dave, are you disappointed in your nominee?
I am profoundly disappointed in my nominee. My nominee has text. The text box on this card is something that I've been waiting for at Uncommon for years. Ooh. Because I've mentioned before, I am an egregious and unrepentant slut for madness.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And there's an uncommon card with the text that says, whenever you discard a card, you may exile it from your graveyard. If you do, you may play that card this turn.
That sounds good.
This gives everything madness.
That sounds so good.
It is so real good.
Good, but it's colorless. It's colorless, and colorless just does. I've thought about it. I've thought so hard about it. Colorless has like 4 discard engines.
Uh-huh.
And we have like fodder tosser.
Yeah, okay. Colorless has 4 playable discard engines. And fodder tosser.
And
I guess.
Tosser.
So 5 if you're desperate. And I'm pretty desperate, but I'm not that desperate. If this card had a color, any color, I would be overjoyed with this card. Like there's a red card from Strixhaven. It's a rare. It's called Conspiracy Theorist,
Mhm.
and it has
Very good.
almost the same text, and it's a rare. It also loots on attack, so it is its own discard engine. Monster of a card, impossible to downshift. It's way too powerful. But you could have taken away the looting. You could have given me Containment Construct with a color.
Sure.
Just make it black, make it red, make it a madness color. Just give me something, and then
Anything.
Then I would have looting. I would have self discard effects. I would have cards with channel. I would have anything that cycles. But I have Containment Construct instead, and I'm deeply mad about it.
Hey, you could
Yeah.
put Ash Barons in this.
I could put Ash Barons in this. I've
Yeah.
thought about that too. Give me anything that transmutes.
Oh.
Give me anything. I'm so put this text on a card with a color, please, Wizards. Anyway,
All
that's
right.
that's the end of my rant.
Who gets the Disappointed Yargle Award for this one? I personally, I have to go with Dave. I have to go with the Construct. Like, sure, Saravak is utterly depressing and very hard to play with, but if you're going for a PDH Pals type meta or something completely wacky, sure, Saravak's hilarious if you don't ever want to win or if you don't ever want to do anything. But in the framework of the PDH format, Containment Construct is literally unplayable.
Yeah, I think I can agree to that. As disappointing as the new tattoo
But it has
might be,
so many good words on it.
yeah. I mean, I even said like had the Simic Dominator United Legend been called literally anything but Tatiova, the Containment Construct was pretty high on my list for worst commanders because of, like Dave said, it's text I want to see, but it just doesn't have a color, and that really hurts.
Ugh, the text is so good.
It is.
I'll be completely honest. I really like Saravak, and I kind of like Tatiova as well. I think that both of those commanders are really entertaining.
No, I have played against the new Tatiova, and it was a little more impressive than I expected it to be. But then again, it's no original Tatiova.
Yeah. Oh, no, nothing is.
So, stupid Saravak. All right. Well, Containment Construct. Congratulations, you get the sad Yargle. It's in the mail.
The sad
The saddest of Yargles.
The saddest of Yargles.
I don't know about y'all,
Alright.
but this is the most entertaining episode so far.
All right, I guess we're back around to me. Is it my category?
Yep.
All right, this time we have the most surprising card. Not necessarily uncommon, not necessarily common, just whatever card that came out that was printed new this year that just sort of caught us off guard, or we've seen it played a few times and we were like, holy cow, I did not expect this card to do that. I'll go ahead and start off if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
My card probably is not a surprise to people, but it may be. I actually chose Candlekeep Sage. The 2 and a blue background, it's a common, so it goes in your 99. It's not even, they didn't even put it at uncommon power level. Commander creatures you own have, when this creature enters or leaves the battlefield, you draw a card. Like, during set reviews, listening to different shows, even we talked about it, everyone knew this card was going to be good. Like, it's blue, and it has the words draw a card on it, and it's an enchantment, so it's hard to deal with. We knew it was going to be good. But this, as a common in the 99, this card completely warps games. Like, it is hard to deal with, and when you pair it with an ETB commander, a commander that does anything on ETB, it just gets absolutely wild. So my pick is probably not a huge surprise, but I was surprised at not necessarily the power level, but how much it affects the entire table. It's not just like this little value engine that helps you dig and draw cards and play your cards and do the thing. Like, it affects what everyone else is doing because you have this one enchantment on the board. That's why it surprised me, and Candlekeep Sage is my pick.
I like it. The first time I ever tried to cast a Candlekeep Sage, I was in a game in the Tryhards meta. I was running Marshcroc, and I was just deeply badly mana screwed.
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck on 3 the whole game, and I drew Candlekeep Sage. I had nothing else in my hand for 3, and I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll cast a Candlekeep Sage. And someone counterspelled it, and I just about rage quit. I was like, I don't have the 4th. Like, you think this is gonna draw me cards? Not until I get the 4th mana. Like, this does nothing. And I spent the whole game not casting my commander. My commander never hit play once.
Oh no.
And on reflection, I still think countering Candlekeep Sage was the right call.
It probably was. Yeah. It
right?
probably
Like,
was.
because if it had landed and then I had drawn the land, like, suddenly my commander is gasoline and I run away with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to deal with otherwise. Like, it's not a card that you can, like...
Because even if they are packing enchantment hate, sometimes there's just more important enchantments that they have to target.
Yeah.
So, and this thing sticks around. You know, I know we joke about Bear's Companion and it's kind of like a meme deck or whatever, but, you know, every time I play, like, I have built Bear's Companion. It's similar to Lobert's deck with my little twist on it. But every time Lobert plays it, he gets Candlekeep Sage out. He starts flickering Bear's Companion. So he's drawing, you know, 2+ cards a turn, making a bear every turn. Like, it gets out of control real fast.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just card advantage city.
When your flicker spell suddenly reads, you know, 2 mana instant planar incision, draw 2 cards, make a 4/4. Like,
exactly.
That's kind of a berserk 2 mana instant. So yeah, Candlekeep Sage definitely got chops as a surprising card.
Yep.
I'm on board with that.
All right, Liam, what do you got for us?
Yeah. So my most surprising card is actually Embiggen. So Embiggen is the green sorcery, I believe, might be an instant, that says until end of turn, target non-brush rag creature gets +1/+1 for each card type, subtype, and super type that it has. So non-brush rag, because brush rag is a meme and they're trying to prevent this from going off with changelings.
Yep.
I think that Embiggen is just... It surprised me because the Unfinity set... I was expecting to be awful. I was expecting, I mean, y'all know my opinion on this, and I think it is awful for a variety of reasons. But I was not expecting anything at the Pauper rarity to be remotely playable in the format.
That's a good call.
I was surprised with one card that was deemed playable-ish in 60-card Pauper, which was Embiggen, and one card that was deemed by myself playable in the PDH format, which was 6-sided die. I chose Embiggen over 6-sided die because I think it's more recognized that Embiggen is playable in 60 card and in PDH, more so than 6-sided die is, no matter how much I may like that card. So I think the most surprising card is Embiggen, not necessarily because of any specific effect that it does, but just because there was a playable card out of a set that is widely regarded as Does this make sense?
That's a fair argument, yeah. That's a fair argument.
It comes out of a set that everyone expects to be bad / thinks that everyone thinks is bad. So
and then it can actually do work.
And the card can actually do something. So I think it is worth noting here, which is why I chose it.
I think it's an excellent choice.
I do too.
I was also surprised by Embiggen. It's a very cool card. It's really interesting design.
Yeah.
I like when I first saw the words non-brush rag, I was like, okay, that's just them being idiots. And then I thought about it for another 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, that's actually brilliant.
Yeah, that's very good.
Like, yeah. And I love that they could have chosen any creature type.
Yeah.
To turn off changelings, and they just chose brushwags like that.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful, and I think it will see some play in some decks. I'm excited about it.
All right, Dave, what do you got for us?
I chose a card that surprised me from a story and lore perspective, as much as it surprised me from a mechanics perspective, and that card is Tamiyo's Completion. In terms of the story, I was deeply shocked when I learned that Tamiyo was getting completed. Tamiyo is she's never been my favorite planeswalker, but like I kind of don't like the blue things she does. But like her lore, her role in the lore and the story and the story circle with the Johnny. She's like a mother to this, plethora of orphans that she takes care of. Like all of that seemed really fascinating. And for Wizards to say like she's a Phyrexian zombie now, she's lost all her free will. She's a tool. Like that, it honestly blew me away. Like War of the Spark showed up like this is when the planeswalkers are all in danger, and they killed grand total like 2 or 3, and I was like, okay, they're not taking this seriously. Like they're doing that thing where authors protect their intellectual property because they don't want to damage their favorite characters. Like then they just shanked Tamio, and I was blown away. Mechanically, we have a 4-mana blue enchantment with flash that will just turn off any permanent. This will, it turns off creatures. It taps them and they don't untap. They lose all their abilities. Turns off equipment. Turns off auras. It turns off lands. I think you can. Oh no, artifact, creature, or planeswalker.
Yep.
So, sorry, it doesn't. So it doesn't turn off. I misread it. It doesn't turn off enchantments. You cannot target an oubliette or an aura with this. But artifact, creature, or planeswalker turns off a lot of things. I saw someone use this on someone's Felden's Cane once. Like,
wow.
Just yeah. I mean, he was playing against a Conrad deck, and he knew that if the guy had Felden's Cane and Conrad at the same time, he wouldn't get an opportunity to time his completion Conrad before the cane went off.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just murked Felden's Cane, and I was like, that's actually brilliant. This card is a lot more versatile than I think it like originally reads, and its ability to just turn off any number of different threats seems kind of great.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Like when you sort of just like glaze over the text box, you're like, oh yeah, okay, we've got plenty of enchantments to do that, and holy cow, it's 4 mana. I'm not going to play that. But then when you actually do play with it, you're like, holy cow, this is very strong.
It's very versatile. It has flash. Like we have a lot of enchantments that tap things down. Like none of them have flash.
Yeah, exactly. And kudos to Tamio for getting in 2 categories.
right. The safekeeping and the completion back to back, I think is like, because that's the other thing that I was like, in the story, like we got this Tamio safekeeping card, and it was like, okay, like the MacGuffin is with Tamio and it's safe now, and I was like, oh, all right, I can relax, like it's good. And it's like, she was a sleeper agent the whole time. She's Phyrexian. She's a bad guy.
Oh no!
I was like, what? I was very shocked by the plot twist there. I don't know if that counts for most surprising card, but that was my take. That's where I went with it.
Well, what does count for the most surprising? Who's getting this Yargle?
For me, it's between Embiggen and Tamio's.
Okay.
But I don't know. Candlekeep is also like.
But I don't think Candlekeep is truly surprising. It doesn't have any surprise factor.
Yeah.
The card itself.
The big surprise for Candlekeep is, for me, the big surprise for Candlekeep is that we, as a rules committee, we were making decisions about whether or not the commons were going to be legal in the command zone before we knew what the blue one was.
Oh,
and we made that decision, and then they spoiled the blue one, and it was the best one, and everyone was like, I did not see that coming.
Yep.
So, like, that's the big surprise for me for Candlekeep, is that the common blue background is just leagues better.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All 3 of the uncommons, like that blew my mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, Candlekeep as a surprising thing has legs. This could win it. I might abstain from this one. I think all 3 of these cards are equally surprising in different ways. So I'm gonna leave this one up to
you. Well, I agree too. All 3 of them are very surprising. I can't speak for Embiggen other than, like Liam said, it was very surprising that we got a card of that caliber from what we perceive to be a forgettable set.
Yeah, no. It was very surprising that we got a playable, not even a card of that caliber, a playable card out of that set.
But to be fair, I have not yet cast Embiggen, so I don't have a feel for it.
Every other card in that set deals with stickers or attractions.
Yep, it sure does.
Like it's... All right, so Dave's abstaining. Brad, what are you picking?
I'm going to have to go with completion. I don't think Candlekeep as a card is all that surprising. The surprise factor of Candlekeep was what it did to the format around it.
The surprise factor was that it was a common.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with completion. What do you think?
I'm going to go with completion. See, this is awful because I've never played completion and I've never seen it played.
It's a good one. It's one of those that
it
when
reads
you finally
like it's
play
a
it,
good
you're
card.
like, why haven't I played this before? It's a good one.
Dave, do you have this in your Sphinx deck?
Ethersworn Sphinx?
Yeah.
No. I have it in my Rune Crab deck, and I think I have it in my Sicarian Infiltrator deck.
Okay.
I can actually check really quick. Moxfield lets you, if you're looking at the Your Decks page on Moxfield, there's a function where you can search for specific cards, and it'll tell you which of those that card is in.
Nice.
See, I don't know, because I really just want to go with Embiggen just because I don't know completion that well.
Yeah, it is in the exact two decks I mentioned, the Rune Crab and Sicarian Infiltrator. And I mean, yeah, you would be totally fair to go with Embiggen.
Yeah, but we got it. There can only be one winner.
There can only be one.
And Brad, we went with completion.
Yeah, Dave, we're gonna need you to not abstain.
You're gonna have to abstain from abstaining.
Okay, all right. I really want Embiggen to win this one because like Tamiyo's completion was a surprise in a really tremendously feels bad way.
That is true.
Like,
that is a good point.
Embiggen was a surprise in a very positive way.
Positive and entertaining.
I'm giving it to Embiggen.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Embiggen, the big old flea. He's getting a Yargle.
Embiggen.
All right. Who is taking the next category that we almost missed?
I'll take the next one. So Brad, in his excitement to get to the most surprising card, accidentally missed the worst new common section. For those of you who might have been listening and wondered where that section went, here it is. Yeah, so worst new common. Dave, what do you think? What's the worst? What is the absolute worst common for 2022?
There's a lot of choices.
There's a lot of choices.
My favorite worst common is Cryptic Spires.
Yep, that. I'll be honest.
That might just win.
Honestly, do Brad not
this card does nothing.
Do Brad not even need to like tell what our picks were? Because I'll be honest.
I think to be fair, we have to tell them what our nominees are, but we don't need to make an argument.
Okay. Because when I was picking from worst new commons, I legit I was like, okay, pick the worst two sets, right? That's Unfinity, right, and Jumpstart. Because it just came out, there was no time to digest it, but also the Jumpstart review was fresh in my head, and all the commons generally kind of sucked, right? There were a couple good ones, but the vast majority of them generally kind of sucked. So I was just kind of going with I don't know, just throw a dart at the board of Jumpstart 2022. I completely forgot about Cryptic Spires.
I did too until I read it in the show notes. I was like, that's it. That's it.
It's like, do we even can I just change it? It's Cryptic Spires, right?
That's an auto Yargle.
So
for those of you listening at home, Cryptic Spires is a land that was released in Double Masters. It is the only original new card from Double Masters.
Yep.
It was in every pack.
It was in every pack.
It is a land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and it has the ability, as you create your deck, circle 2 of the mana symbol colors below, and you can tap to add 1 mana of either of the circled colors. It's a build your own guild gate, but it's not a gate. It's a build just your own, worse.
It's a build your own tap land.
Yeah. It's a build your own tapped duel that doesn't have types. It's just worse than everything.
Oh.
And if it wins a Yargle, I'm going to have to put it into a stupid deck for the sake of idiocy. So please don't do this to me. What are the other nominees?
Okay. Well, I don't think mine's beating Cryptic Spire, but I picked, even though it is from an excellent set, I picked Lurking Green Dragon. I have cast this card so many times. Let's say I've put Lurking Green Dragon on the battlefield 20 times. I've attacked with it twice. You know why? Because you can only attack when defending player controls a creature with flying. That sounds like it would happen a lot, but it doesn't happen as much as you want it to happen.
Yeah.
And when you're building a deck that is Dragon Tribal, and this is one of your only creatures on board for whatever reason, it is very much a feels bad. Sure, you have a 4/4 blocker, but in Dragon Tribal or any sort of green aggressive deck, you don't want to waste a slot to a 4/4 that, for the most part, cannot attack. I'm over it. I even took it out of Thrakkus, and that's who cares about dragons. It's so disappointing. It's probably technically not the worst common we got all year, but it's certainly one of the most disappointing. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, so mine was really easy. Like I said, I looked at the Jumpstart commons that were new because, it was just fresh in my head. And the one that stood out was Ossuary Rats, the 6 mana 3/2 that when it enters the battlefield deals 0 damage to target creature or planeswalker. 0 damage because it's an ETB effect that goes on the stack, and your opponents just remove your graveyard in response to it, so it does nothing.
Yep, they sure do.
This is a 6 mana 3/2.
And that's pretty much it.
It's a 6 mana 3/2. There are no redeeming qualities on this. Like, not even the fact that it's typed as a rat. It's bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop talking about it.
Sounds good.
So what are we thinking is the Yargle here?
Well, go ahead, Dave. What's your pick of these three?
It's Cryptic Spires.
And
that's
Brad,
the winner.
Brad,
Yep, it's got to be the Spires.
it's the
terrible,
Spires.
terrible Spires. Amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely the Spires. Gosh, I'm really upset that this had the common rarity and not the special rarity.
Yeah.
Because like, had they given it the special rarity, it wouldn't be legal in Pauper, wouldn't be legal in PDH, and it would be the only card in existence that only exists as a special.
Yep. But as it is, it's legal in Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Pauper.
I guess not the only one. You have the Pied Piper and the Faceless one. Those only exist as special rarities, but Cryptic Spires would join them and forever exist in the void.
Prismatic Pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
Yeah. All right. I think we can move on to a more delightful category. What do you think? Dave, you want to take this one?
I would love to introduce our next topic.
Yeah.
All right.
Our next topic is most impactful set of 2022. We had some juicers. We went from Neon Dynasty to Streets of New Capenna to Commander's Legend, Baldur's Gate to Dominaria United to Brothers War. So there's some gasoline in this tank.
Well,
we have to choose.
You can't forget Unfinity and Warhammer releasing on the same weekend.
I did.
That is true. On the same weekend.
I did forget both of those. Yeah. Warhammer and Unfinity also in this mix. And our task as the presenters and judges of the Yargles is to determine which of these sets had the biggest impact on PDH.
Mm-hmm.
So let me hear what Liam has to say here.
Yeah, this is Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. Not even close. Initiative and backgrounds are pretty wild. In addition to that, every card in the set, every time I read it, it's just like, wait, what? That was in that set? Or, that effect does what? Say that again? Like, I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. That sounds too good. To come from a set that everyone says is terrible and, that I've seen on fire sale over and over and over again. Commander Legends Baldur's Gate was gas for PDH. It was straight gas. I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the D&D theme, but like even then I can look past it and it's just still so good. So my pick's Baldur's Gate. How about you, Brad? What do you got?
100% Baldur's Gate. You're totally right. It is unparalleled how good that set was. From the flavor to the rules text to the art, it was all good. And I'm like you too, whenever I'm just kind of searching Scryfall, trying to get ideas to fill out a deck or find this one effect or whatever, and I land on a Baldur's Gate card, it's like, wow, I either forgot about this card or never knew it existed because I was so busy with the other, 100 cards to play with out of this set. So as far as most impactful, it has to be Baldur's Gate. No questions. Dave, what about you?
It's gotta be Baldur's Gate. Like there's of all of the sets that have ever released that brought us PDH cards, only one of them has just absolutely schismed the entire community.
Yeah.
by introducing common backgrounds and making everyone mad about it.
Yeah.
So like even aside from like the monster selection of crazy new cards and power, like in terms of impact on our community, nothing has had a bigger impact this year than common backgrounds and the whole fallout from that whole situation. So yeah, I mean, Neon Dynasty had great cards, New Capenna had great cards, Brothers War has great cards.
Yeah.
Nothing comes close to CLB.
Yeah, but CLB was a whole great set.
Yeah, it's just so
So
hacked.
yeah, it really is.
You know what we should do the next time that Baldur's Gate goes on fire sale? Someone should organize a PDH boxing league.
Okay.
I mean, you're like guaranteed to make all your money back if you sell all the rares, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's how that works, right?
I've got a sealed box of Baldur's Gate on my shelf. I'm waiting for someone to come draft it with me.
Ooh.
And if boxes of it go on sale, I'm grabbing those as well.
Yeah.
I want to draft this over and over again. I love the draft environment. And like it's not like I won't find a use for these cards. They go in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the backgrounds too, it was like those are, I mean, yes, they go in the command zone, but they're almost like commanders in of themselves. It's they're like the partners, but they're just different to me. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because I didn't play a ton when the partners were new in PDH, when it was a new thing. But backgrounds just feel like you can just mix and match all day long and just make deck after deck after deck and have a blast doing it.
Yeah.
CLB, the Yargle is yours. It'll meet you in the Undercity.
That sounds dark.
It does sound dark. All right. Who is the next presenter?
I guess Dave is, right?
Oh, I think he did the...
No, I just did.
Oh,
just
yeah.
did
CLB.
You just did CLB. So yeah, it's Brad then.
Oh, back to me. All right. This is a good one, too. This is one we always look forward to as Pauper players in those reprint sets. A little bit, in standard sets. Not very often, though. We are looking for the best reprint of 2022. And a little foreshadowing, a little spoiler. This may be the third consecutive slam dunk consensus pick here. But Dave, you go first. What do you got? What's the best reprint in your mind?
So I will preface this by saying that I was the third person to type my personal answers into the notes document. So going into this, I already knew what Brad and Liam had chosen, and my instinct was to just choose the exact same card that they chose. But I've decided, I think, to deliberately misinterpret what I think best reprint means, so that I could have a different answer and then immediately pivot and agree with them after they present theirs,
Just
so
for
we can
controversy.
build a little tension. Yeah, we gotta pretend like we didn't orchestrate this whole thing behind the scenes. So if we think that best reprint of the year means most powerful card that got reprinted, the answer's got to be Lightning Bolt. It's been a ubiquitous part of Magic's history for 30 years. It is a powerhouse.
I don't know how you can argue with that.
It warps standard when it's in standard. When it's not in standard, people beg and cry for it to be in standard. And it got a really cool looking reprint in Commander Legends.
It did. It got a couple different treatments, didn't it?
Yeah, it got the parchment paper
manual
treatment,
or storybook or whatever it is. Not storybook.
I hate so many of those pieces of art, but Lightning Bolt is okay.
Mm-hmm. That's a decent one.
I like the standard art it got in the CLB set, where it's a lightning bolt, like a top-down view of a lightning bolt, like just tearing across like a bridge towards a door, like that. I think that is the cool art that I like on Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Speaking of reprints with art, Liam, what is your pick for best reprint of the year?
Yeah. So I'm also going to deviate from what I've actually typed, because I want Brad to be able to say it, and then I can just immediately agree with him. But I'll give my reasoning for the thing I actually typed. I'm glad it got reprinted because it makes the card more affordable, which is really great because it was a I don't know that it was a much needed reprint. I don't know how much play it saw, but I don't know if the lack of play was due to the price tag it had. I know I've definitely seen it more now that had a recent reprint and is much cheaper to get a hold of. And that card would be Deadly Dispute. Got its much needed reprint in Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. Like I said, I was going to riot if this card did not get a reprint. And Scarecrow was betting against me on Twitter. He's like, Deadly Dispute's too new. They wouldn't know to put that card in the set. And Deadly Dispute,
less than a year later, got its much needed reprint. It's much more reasonable price. It's not $5 or $6 like it was. It's now $1.30, which is completely reasonable. And yeah, so my best reprint of the year is going to be Deadly Dispute. How about you, Brad? What do you think? It's a good choice. Well, my choice is kind of similar to your reasons. It's a very, I wouldn't say it's the most powerful card that they reprinted this year. It's a very good card, but I don't know if it didn't see a lot of play because of the original price tag.
Yeah.
And it's also a black card, but this card is Darkness. It finally saw a reprint in a common reprinting, which has always been common, but in the 40k Commander decks, it's down to about $3. Sweet new art, awesome card. I'm glad it's more widely available than it was previously. The Legends version is still pushing about $15 to $20. That's okay. You don't need the Legends version. The new version works just as well. But price-wise, I am super... They could have put the same art on it from Legends. I wouldn't have cared. I am just glad that it saw a reprint. And it's much more affordable now, because it's one of those cards that it's not going to go into every single black deck that you make. It's not going to go into every deck that has swamps in it. But when you want a card that does what it does, you absolutely need that card.
Yep.
So, of the reprints this year, that is my choice for the best one.
After it got reprinted, it went into my Yargle deck.
Oh, perfect.
Because
that's a great spot for it.
Because let me tell you, Voltron decks, what they hate is when someone alpha swings at them. And you've got one blocker. Maybe.
You got one big old blocker.
You've got one blocker, maybe. So yeah, that went straight in there. I'm going to agree. It's definitely Darkness.
It's got to be Darkness.
Got to be Darkness.
Like I'm excited for new art on Lightning Bolt, but I've already got 20 Lightning Bolts.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's one new art? Yeah.
The 6 more I opened in CLB packs doesn't affect me much, but like having new art on Darkness that is more accessible and not aggressively terrible is pretty great.
Yeah,
I totally agree. All right, so Darkness, you win the best reprint of 2022. Yay for you.
All right, my turn for the best downshift. So this was... I don't know that downshift was the correct best rarity shift, right? Either a creature to uncommon, so it could be the commander, or a card to common, so it could go in the 99, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, best shifting, best rarity shifting. So it's now a playable card in our format. Dave, what was your pick?
Me? I choose Go for the Throat.
Oh no!
I feel like when I played the game, the standard issue black removal spell was called Terror, and it was from Alpha, and it was 1 and a black to kill any creature except artifact creatures or black creatures. This idea that artifact creatures and black creatures were immune to fear was a common theme in there, and they did a lot more of this, color specific aggression in 93. The card Terror, as things got power crept over the years, the card Terror split into 2 different pieces. One piece is called Doomblade, which is still a 2 mana instant, same cost, same card type, and it will destroy anything that's non-black. Mm-hmm. So Doomblade can hit artifacts, it just can't kill black things. And it also split, the other half of this was Go for the Throat, which is still exact same, 1 and a black instant, destroy target creature that isn't an artifact. Because I guess artifacts don't have throats. And it had always bothered me that one of these was common and the other was uncommon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they're approximately similar in power level, and like I mentioned on the live stream that I appreciate it when things have a certain sense of parity to them.
Sure.
And it annoyed me that this one didn't. And now we have Go for the Throat.
That was troubling.
For a long time, yeah. Now we have Go for the Throat at a common. It got downshifted in the Warhammer 40k set. So right now the only common printing of it is in the pre-constructed 40k deck, which depicts a Space Marine getting absolutely ruined by a Necron monster, which I think is very cool.
And then they
But
reprinted it again in the Brothers War at Uncommon.
Right.
Yeah,
Brothers
I saw
War,
that.
and like I'm kind of weirdly not upset by that because I love the art on the Brothers War version. Like I'm glad that we got another new piece of art for this
for sure.
that doesn't just depict the vampire thing from the original. And the new Brothers War art is great. And also, I feel like in draft sets, putting the really efficient removal spell at uncommon makes an amount of sense.
Oh, for sure. And
So, like,
limited, yeah.
I'm-
100%.
Yeah, so Brothers War is a limited set, and like it's fine for it to be an uncommon there. This doesn't bother me at all. Like making it a common in the pre-constructed commander set so that we have access to it, but it's not going to mess up any limited formats. I think that was a wise maneuver.
See,
I'm on board with Wizards doing that.
I can understand that argument, but in Brothers War, destroying target non-artifact creature is significantly less of the creature population than you might think. It's kind of like why like Essence Scatter gets printed in sets like Amonkhet, where it's going to counter the non-aggro pieces. So it's like Go for the Throat. Like had Go for the Throat been in like Dominaria United, I would agree uncommon makes sense, but I feel like it could have been at common in Brothers War. I really feel like it could have.
It probably could have been, but like I don't know enough about the limited to confidently say that. So I'm just gonna trust Wizards on this one.
That's fair.
That is fair. What do you got, Liam? What is your best downshift?
Yeah, mine is very similar to Dave's. Mine also came out of the 40k pre-constructed decks, and this is a card that I've been.
Sounds like those decks were good for our format.
They were really good. And I've been waiting for a while, honestly, for this card to get a downshift. That card is Unstable Obelisk. So Unstable Obelisk is nothing terribly fancy. It's a 3-mana colorless mana rock. It taps for colorless, and it has 7 tap, sacrifice, destroy target permanent. This is unconditional removal in colorless. Yes, it's 8 mana and sacrifices a mana rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a sucker for mana rocks that have late game utility.
Yeah, big time.
And that can make an impact. And Unstable Obelisk does that. And it got printed originally in a commander set many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just constantly got commander set reprints over and over and over. And I was just waiting. I was waiting for the one time it got printed at common in these commander sets. And it finally did. It hit the Warhammer 40k ones. It got printed at common. And I was like, yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, it got printed at common with new art.
With new art. And I don't entirely hate it because it doesn't just scream Warhammer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, the flavor text is very clearly Warhammer, but the art does not just scream Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the new art on it. I love the finally printing with a common set symbol for the so it gets downshifted, but it's also not like an online printing, so we can have the paper aesthetic, right? Hate it when stuff gets downshifted only on online. Yeah, right. I'm just a sucker for a good mana rock, and if it wasn't Unstable Obelisk, it was probably going to be Meteorite. But Unstable Obelisk goes in more decks than Meteorite does, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Yep, and it's a pretty big boon to monocolored decks in our format.
Oh, it is. It is so good in my Ornithopter deck. You have no idea. Yeah.
Awesome.
How about you, Brad? What do you got? What's your best downshift?
Well, I don't think it would be a PDH Pod episode if I didn't at least mention 60 card Pauper a little bit. This downshift kind of set that format on fire for a good little bit too, for a noticeable amount of time. And this was a downshift people were asking for. Well, not asking for necessarily. They were debating whether or not this card would be good at common in Pauper. Would it be healthy for the format? Would it be good? It was a very divisive card. But I was always on the side of, yes, bring it to common, bring it to Pauper. I want to play with it all the time. And that card is Monastery Swiftspear. It is for sure not super PDH relevant, but man, am I happy that it saw a common downshift. It is one of my favorite downshifts to common, probably of all time. I absolutely love the card. I remember a little bit of draft I did during cons that era. I played with it when I played standard during that time. I played with it like any chance that I could play with it. I played with it. So I've always loved it. It's always been a favorite of mine. And yeah, I'm super happy about it. I don't know if it's quote unquote the best. I don't know if it fits those or fits the criteria to be the best, but is by far my favorite downshift.
Monastery Swiftspear is amusing, like Go for the Throat. It got a common downshift, and then immediately in Brothers War got upshifted again.
Yeah, right back up. Yep. Yeah, and it got a new showcase treatment in Double Masters as well, too, so that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it got the borderless.
Yeah, and it's only 73 cents. It's killer.
You know, Dave, Brad, I'm noticing a pattern here. You like Seeker of the Way, you like Monastery Swiftspear. When are you going to be brewing Boros Monks?
Oh, that sounds amazing. I should do that.
With prowess. They both have prowess, right?
Yeah, I love prowess. Yeah. That's probably my favorite keyword. Lifelink and prowess. Oh, my God.
Jeskai
so
prowess. Good. Jeskai monk prowess.
Yeah. Every word of that sentence just got better and better. All right. Which
so
downshift is getting the Yargle?
I like Obelisk best. I think that it just goes in a lot of different decks.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I love Go for the Throat, and I'm glad we finally have it at common. But yeah, I think sort of like the mile high view, if you will, I think Unstable Obelisk is the better of these three as far as downshifts go.
What's funny is I almost picked Go for the Throat instead of Obelisk.
If you had picked Go for the Throat, I would have picked Obelisk.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Whichever one you were doing, I was doing the other. Like those are the two big ones for me.
Those are the two big ones for me as well. And like I said, like once I got past Go for the Throat and Obelisk, it was like Meteorite. Like
right.
All right.
I think that wraps up the official quote unquote Yargles, the best cards we have from 2022.
Let's just do a really quick recap. Best new commander, Abdel Adrian. Best new common, Gaia's Gift. Worst new commander, Containment Construct. Worst new common, Cryptic Spires. Most surprising card, Embiggen. Most impactful set, Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Best reprint, Darkness from 40k. Best downshift, Unstable Obelisk from 40k.
Great. Thank you for that. Nice rundown.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, kind of move into the next little segment, sort of our own personal Yargles, if you will. We have some different categories here with just our personal favorites, not ones that we think were super important for the format or, opened up all these different archetypes or, whatever. It's just things that we enjoyed from this year from categories that we made up. So I think that sounds pretty good. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right. First up, I'll throw it to y'all. Your personal favorite PDH Pod episode. Liam, what's your favorite?
I think my favorite is definitely got to be episode 19, which was our wish list episode. This is the episode where we talked about stuff that we wanted to see, shifted to Pauper, stuff we wanted to see in the format, 3 reprints, stuff like that. Just to create a little bit of discourse, but also just to talk about what we want to see.
I like it. It was a good episode. That's all I got.
I think it was a really good episode.
What was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode was the Staples one.
Okay.
Partly because I really enjoyed delivering that rant. and then following that up immediately with talking about what cards I thought were staples.
Yes.
Like that was just a fun here's why the idea of staples is useless, and anyway, here's what the staples are. Like that dichotomy is just really entertaining for me.
I don't even know if there was a breath taken in between. It was beautiful.
Yeah. That episode was, I think, the first time that I saw people out in the broader community start to engage with it and give me feedback and go from that episode to talking to me about it on the Discord, and I was like, this is amazing, people listened to this show.
Yeah, it was a very interactive episode.
Yeah
People seem to like it quite a bit.
What about you?
I think I go back a little further than both of you. I go back to episode 11, the very first 3x3 episode we did, and it was on the Voltron archetype. Killian was my choice. I still play Killian to this day. It's great. I love that as a Voltron deck. And I love it because the series, those 3x3 and the 1 4x4 with Scarecrow, they're a deep dive into decks, into deck building, a little bit of theory, deck building, that sort of thing. But also that Voltron episode sort of spawned a whole series of episodes. So, I mean, as the content creator / podcaster in me, that's great because that's free topics, that's free content. We know what we can do at any given time. And B, it's something that a lot of the fans can relate to. They love these archetypes. Before we did the combo 3x3, I had multiple people ask, when's the combo one? When are you doing the 3x3 on combo? When's the combo? So just like the Staples one, I think that's something a lot of fans can relate to. And yeah, I love Voltron. I love Killian. So yeah, that was my favorite one.
Speaking of things that spawned, Liam.
Yeah.
Remind me, if you would be so kind, which deck did you bring to the 3x3 Voltron episode?
Yeah.
So
why are we here today?
Why are we here today? We were told to bring Voltron Commanders to this episode. And being the absolute nutjob goofball I am, I was like, I'm going to bring the 5-mana 9/3 vanilla creature that I legitimately have built as a Voltron Commander and have had built for over a year and a half now.
Naturally.
And it is legitimately one of my favorite decks. And yeah, it's Yargle. And
here we are.
It's Yargle.
It's the Yargle.
And Yargle, Yargle spawned the whole idea of the Yargle deck in a 3x3 episode, right? Two decks that are really true to the theme, and then one that's like a little bit off, a little bit goofy, that
out
really
there, yep.
that embodies the spirit of the format. But it's also, why we're here, like, talking about what cards, embody the format this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little goofy and fun, and it's different, right?
I love it.
I feel like if you hadn't brought the Yargles to that episode, I feel like things would have been very different. So
what a course of the future that episode, that deck, that Yargle he paved.
Now we got Yargle awards, we got Yargle decks and our 3x3s.
My co-hosts and everyone listening is welcome.
If you're in the PDH Pod Discord, we have a Yargle emoji.
Yeah, we do. We have a golden Yargle emoji. Someone, I was doing the Photoshop and I had the file like ready to go. Like someone was like, "How can we get a Yargle emoji?" And then Brad was like,
Bam,
"That's a good idea." And then less than 5 minutes later, I had that file downloaded into Discord. And I was like, "Here you go."
Awesome.
All you got to do is join our Patreon, ask for a cool feature, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah. See how easy that is? Oh, okay. Who's the presenter? Whose category is this?
Personal favorite new card. That's probably mine. No, it should be Brad. Because Dave did episode, right?
I don't remember. That was ages ago.
Professional podcasters. All right.
That's right.
Brad, go ahead.
All right. So next up, we have another personal favorite category. This one is personal favorite new card. Liam, do you want to start out this time?
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and continue. My personal favorite new card is going in my personal favorite deck, and being my personal favorite deck being Yargle. It is only natural that my personal favorite new card goes into that, right? So it's it's a card I was dissing on the set it came in earlier, Jumpstart 2022. I was dissing on the set and all the new commons, but this is like the only good one that came out of it. It's mana rock, taps for black. It can be sacrificed for mana later. Not mana. It can be sacrificed for cards later. Jeez.
For cards, yep.
And that is Infernal Idol. This card is straight gas. Like I was saying with the Unstable Obelisk, I'm a sucker for a good mana rock, even if that slot is becoming clogged with even though the mana rock slot is becoming more and more clogged with every single set that releases. I'm a sucker for a good mana rock. It's a good one too. Infernal Idol, I'm here for it. That went I haven't gotten one yet. I have a proxy because I've not opened any Jumpstart yet. But I'll probably end up buying one for my LGS because it's the only card I want from that whole set.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of the 2 or 3 that I want.
And it's got good art to boot. It doesn't have like a whole cycle, so there's no parity issues with it for using it in future decks. I'm in love. It's great.
That's a good one. All right, I think I'll take the next one, if you don't mind, Dave.
Go for it.
All right, my personal favorite new card of 2022, surprise, surprise, came out of Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, and surprise, 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 it is Orzhov. I absolutely am in love with Minthara Merciless Soul. It has been one of, if not my favorite commander to brew around, to actually play with. And it's Orzhov, it's an elf cleric, it's like this dark elf. It's amazing all over. Basically, Minthara lets me play Orzhov the way I like to play it, which is an aggressive mid-range package or strategy. And I love it. You can pack whatever you want to in there. If you want to pack in life gain, or she kind of wants you to do a flicker package or an aristocrats package if you'd rather do it that way. Like, she could helm so many different types of Orzhov decks that you won't run out of options, and I love that about her. So, of every card that's been released this year, she is my favorite. What about you, Dave? You got a favorite?
I do. This is a card that I actually honestly have some mixed feelings about. Because when she got spoiled, I was overjoyed. I had the deck designed about an hour after I saw her get spoiled, and I had most of it put together before I went to the pre-release. So my goal was to go to the pre-release for Commander's Legends Baldur's Gate and try to come home with all the cards I needed to finish this deck. And I was pretty close. I think I was only missing one or two by the time the pre-release ended. So I was wildly enthusiastic about this deck from the beginning. And then I played a couple games with this deck, and it is honestly too strong.
It is so strong.
When I am talking, of course, about Rilsa Rail, the Kingpin.
Yeah.
She just runs away with games.
And fast, too. Like, so fast.
It is hard to slow her down.
Mm-hmm.
The constant value you get from having an initiative card in flicker colors. You can get the initiative with any Grave Flicker spell, with any Exile Flicker spell, and you have plenty of those in blue and black. So you can just constantly get the initiative over and over again. And then, like, after you have it, like, it's not like you have this deck that's for the initiative. You have a deck that is for combat.
Yeah.
In addition to all of the benefits you get from the initiative, she's going to give a creature +5/+0, menace, first strike, and death touch. You can attack with anything, and it is a massive kick in the face.
+5/+0. That's just absurd.
Yeah. And like it's so hard to deal with, because the exact same suite of cards that you're using to generate value by going through the initiative over and over again is the same set of cards that you would use to protect your stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, someone tries to kill Rilsa, like, either you have the Undying Malice and she dies and comes back immediately and gives you crazy value, or she just dies and you cast her again from the command zone, because she still gives you crazy value. Like, you get into these games with her where, like, your opponents are like, there is nothing I can do to stop this, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
And, like, which is wild to me. Like, I built this deck to be this goofy nonsense, like, let's party in the dungeon and see what happens. And what happens is you steamroll everyone without ever stopping, and it's like it's nuts. So, like, from a design perspective, Rilsa Rail, absolutely my favorite new card of the year.
Mm-hmm.
With the Yamazakis in a close second place.
Sure.
But yeah, the deck I have for her is in a weird state right now. I'm trying to find ways to, like, tone it down while still doing the dungeon exploration.
I don't know if you can.
Enjoyment stuff. Yeah, we're working on it. I don't know if I can either, but we will definitely make it.
And that +5/+0 she gives, and first strike and menace, that she's probably giving that to the creature that you just pulled out of the Throne of the Dead 3 that has +3, +3/+3 counters on it already.
You mean my 11/12 Eldrazi Devastator?
Yeah, that's
one. The one?
Yeah,
that one.
That's the
yeah.
one.
That's crazy.
Even if I've had a Child of Night from the Throne of the Dead 3 played against me. I'm like, well, there's a 4/4 lifelink. Oh wait, now it's a 9/4 first strike menace lifelink.
9/4 Right. Like, you just casually, like, yeah, no, that she just runs away with the game. And, like, it feels so bad to, like, burn a removal spell on a Child of Night.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to. She
to.
makes everything she does is such a high value, high impact play that it just becomes really, really difficult to, like, keep up with what she's doing in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, love the design, and love playing the deck.
And because it's in blue and black, you're going to complete that first dungeon in half the time it takes other decks to do that. So you're gonna flicker her once or twice. You're gonna hit it on combat. You're gonna hit it on your upkeep. God,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, she's berserk.
So good.
Yeah, I love her a lot.
All right, Liam, I think you can take the last category of the year.
All right. So the last category is the favorite deck that we've built this year. This does not necessarily have to be a 2022 Commander, but ideally, when we picked this, a card from 2022 at least sparked our interest in building this Commander. So with that, Brad, I'm going to pick on you first. Would you like to go?
I am going to pick the deck I built for Cormella, which is actually the deck that I built for our 3x3 Aristocrats episode. It's my Cormella the Thief, my AKA Threatened Tribal, if you will. This is outside of, like, burn and life gain. Stealing people's crap is something I've always loved to do since those cards were first printed way back in the day. Like, they've never been super good. You know, they usually print one of them in every draft set just because it's like, here's a threaten effect with the set mechanic on it. You get a Power Stone or you get treasures or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I've always loved that strategy. Cormella herself is so cool. You know, she's a thief, so that fits right along with the flavor. You know, I actually looked into it for something I was doing with this deck, and the word Grixis actually means traitor. So that's perfect with all these threatened effects because there's like Traitorous Instinct, Mutiny, all this kind of crazy stuff. So I know we have a few options for Grixis, but for the type of deck that I wanted to build, this threaten type deck, Cormella just hit the mark for me. It's perfect. It's probably the most flavorful deck I've ever built, and I'm so happy with it. It's so bad. It's not a great deck, but I'll probably never take it apart just because of the flavor, and I'm working on sort of like blinging out some of the pieces so it looks fancy because she's like this fancy art thief or whatever. So I don't know. That's my favorite deck of the year, mainly because of flavor, and it sort of hits those nostalgia buttons for me as well.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I like that one.
What do you got, Dave?
I'm gonna repeat myself a bit here because this is a question that I got asked in the live stream last week, and I talked about this deck a lot there. So if you listen to that, you're gonna hear me repeat myself a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite deck that I've built this year is definitely just Allura, the Merry Thief, plus Dragon Cultist. Again, with the Yamazakis in a very close second. Allura is just like Allura. I think hedges out the Yamazakis just because it's such a goofy idea that feels like it shouldn't work, but like PDH is the perfect storm of like weird nonsense actually coming together in a goofy way to make this work. Like this is I just love the idea not only of getting value out of an arc runner, but getting repeated value out of an, like, it's not just you get the value out of your arc runner and then it's done and it goes away.
Yeah.
But like you can get that value out of an arc runner over and over and over again, which is like the funniest thing in the world to me. Like years and years ago, I had this, so this was 2001. Mm-hmm. In 2001, I built maybe it was 2002. It was after Onslaught. So after Onslaught got printed, I built a deck that was like 4 Ball Lightnings, 4 Blistering Fire Cats, and then when Mirrodin came out, I put 4 Spark Elementals in it, and it was just that and like Reckless Abandons and Lightning Bolts, and that was the entire deck.
Beautiful.
And so like this idea of these creatures that just yeet themselves, like the burn spells that are secretly creatures.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they've always had a very special place in my heart, and like partnering those with blue to recycle them and get dragons out of it feels stupid, but it works
real stupid.
and then like
awesome.
there's so many terrible cards that just become viable in this deck, like Keldon Marauders.
Mm-hmm.
is a 2-mana 3/3 with Vanishing 1 that deals 1 damage when it enters or leaves the battlefield.
Right.
And if you're having it enter and leave the battlefield every turn, like all this needs is Boots of Speed, and now you're attacking with it. You're casting it. It has haste. You get your ETB trigger. You get your 1 free attack with it, and then you put it back in your hand and you deal another damage.
Yep.
This is 6 damage a turn and a dragon.
And you get your dragon
for 3 mana.
Yeah.
And individually, every single one of these cards is garbage. Like this isn't the Flicker combo where like, yeah, Flicker's a great card and it becomes even better with these circumstances. No, like Keldon Marauders is a garbage card for garbage people. But I'm a garbage person and I made it work.
Hey,
and I'm just so like unbelievably proud of this thing that like barely came together into something that's like vaguely kind of functional, and like that just feels real good to me.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Can't get enough of it.
I'm glad that Dragon Cultist has found a home. Like I've been trying to brew with that card, and it is surprisingly difficult if you're not just on like a straight up each player takes damage burn deck sort of thing.
Yeah,
it is a sweet deck. I'm very impressed.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, Liam, what did you build this year that you absolutely fell in love with?
Yeah. So I had a couple cards this year kind of spark my interest in finally getting around to like actually building this thing. I have an Ornithopter Voltron deck. Ornithopter is my favorite card of all time. If you don't know that already, now you do.
Now you know.
Yeah, Ornithopter is like my favorite card of all time. There's a whole thing about me getting into Magic with it, and there's a couple things that really sparked my interest in building it. The land base this year got a couple really, really key additions to it. It got Crystal Grotto and Takesia's Dig Site.
Mm-hmm.
It had some gate stuff like Basilisk Gate and Heap Gate get added to it. Just getting some more effects into the land base because colorless spells are hard to come by. So you really need your lands to do some work for you. But the card that really like pushed it over the edge actually came in Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. That's Trailblazer's Torch. This deck is a Voltron deck, which means it focuses on the equipment because it's colorless.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Trailblazer's Torch gives the initiative. It enters the initiative into the game. Yeah. And oh boy, it's a trip. Once you have your initiative and you got your big beefy Ornithopter blocker, it doesn't matter if someone else takes it from you because you'll just take it right back.
Yeah.
And
that's what I love about Voltron.
Yeah.
Especially flying Voltron.
Oh yeah. I'm in love with this deck and where it's going. It's absolutely awful. It needs more card draw, but that's, problems for me to figure out and work out. But I'm glad that this deck is now finally buildable. It's not very good, but it is finally buildable after this year. And I'm excited to see where 2023 takes us.
Yeah, I am too. Because they're not going to stop with the artifacts and the equipments and all this other crazy stuff. Not. Maybe we'll get colorless auras.
Oh, maybe.
Ooh. All right. Well, did either of you have anything to add to the personal favorites list? I know we're going to give a few shout outs here at the end, but
no, I'm good.
Are we going to give a Yargle to the best PDH content for the year? Like, should we give shout outs to House of Commons and
I think we should.
The tremendous work they do, and the Common Connoisseurs as well. We got Clay and Ryan over at the Common Connoisseurs
kicking ass.
They're putting out YouTube videos at frankly an alarming rate.
It is alarming.
I worry about their sleep.
Yeah.
Liam opened up this episode by telling us that his plan for the break was to sleep, which I support and endorse wholeheartedly.
100%.
And I want that for Clay and Ryan as well. Like, they deserve rest in their lives, and I just don't know if that's a thing they do. So
yeah, I'm not sure either.
Check out their stuff, give them some love. And then House of Commons is the podcast that's very, very keyed in on competitive PDH. Mm-hmm. They do magnificent work. We sometimes borrow their hosts.
Start beef every now and then.
Yeah. I love their stuff. I love listening to them talk. Jules and Chev, tremendous podcasters, incredible people, excellent conversationalists.
Yep, we got the pals.
We got some PDH pals.
Yeah, big thanks to the pals for everything that they have helped us out this year. everything from the podcast to Twitter to just being they're like a force in the format, but like a positive, entertaining force. I don't know how to explain the pals. If you don't know them, go check them out. Go check out their videos, their streams, all that good stuff. They take it to a whole different level.
I was so keyed in on this idea of new things in 2022 so we can give away Yargles. Like, I didn't even think of the pals. Like, the pals have been in this game for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
yeah, they are.
They definitely didn't start in 2022, but
they deserve some Yargles though.
they do. They need some Yargles.
We got it. Next year we'll do a Yargle for the best pal, and we'll make them. We'll make them come onto the show and explain to us why each of them deserves the Yargle.
Look, we didn't do the best Patreon because that would be too polarizing, and now you want to do the best pal. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he does. He's serious about it.
I do.
Oh my goodness.
Right, well. And I don't think they'll say no.
No, probably not.
All right, give a couple last shout outs here. I want to give a big shout out, obviously, to the fans. If you're listening to this now, big thanks. 2022, granted, when did we start? June-ish? I don't think our Discord goes back that far. May. We started in May, early May. And it's been wild ever since. Like, I can't believe we're already at Christmas time. This has been great. I'm super appreciative of all the fans, the listeners, the patrons, everyone who interacts with me on Twitter that even mentions Pauper Commander to me. I'm super appreciative of it. And then Dave and Liam, love you guys. You went on this weird pet project journey of mine to create what we have now. And so far, so good. I think we're having a good time. We've come up with some good topics, some good conversation. We've had great guests on. It's been pretty much a pretty entertaining ride for me the last 6 or so months. So, and I also wanted to give a big shout out to Lobert, who just is frankly kicking butt on those YouTube videos. He's on the streams every Monday night playing some Paper PDH, and just an all-around great Pauper brewer, Pauper player, great personality. So personality for the format. So check them out as well. And then, I don't know, Dave, Liam, did you have anything else for us for the show?
I love watching Lobert's games.
I do
he
too.
Does such a good job.
He creates such good decks.
Honestly, like there's very little gameplay that I can tolerate listening to or watching, but that is one of them. That I really enjoy the voiceover that he does to the sped up gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it does high quality work.
Yeah, it really is. It's very I don't want to say innovative, but like a lot of gameplay videos, you load them up and it's like 3.5 hours, and you know that's what these games were. But now they're like 12 minutes.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's very cool, and they're gaining popularity. Every video gets more views than the last, so they've been very popular, and we don't really have any plans on stopping. In fact, I just uploaded a whole bunch of videos to the Google Drive last week. I filled it up. I couldn't fit any more in there, so he'll have his pick. But I think that's about it. We're going to move into the outro here, but just a few more things before we wrap it up for the week. As always, if you need any more Pauper Commander talk or have any questions about the format, or you have your own picks for some Yargles, you can email the show at thepdhpod@gmail.com, or head on over to the PDH Homebase's website or Discord server. Or you can find Liam and I on Twitter at Pauper Command and Pauper_B. As always, you can find Dave as the Alcadron just about anywhere else PDH is being talked about. Well, all right. As this week's episode of the PDH Pod comes to a close, we'd like to give a big thanks to MTG Brad for letting us use their original music for the show. And from everyone in here to everyone out there, brew a deck, pick your own favorites to give a Yargle to, and we'll see you in about a week. Peace.
Cheers.
See ya.
I brought Pauper decks to the party.